Hello viewers, the Green Ranger is back and we're going to be replacing some headlamps and some turn signal lamp assemblies here in the front. Now there are a lot of different ways that you can take care of headlamps that have fogged up over time and have gotten dim, but ultimately I think the best thing to do is just replace the whole thing, especially on a truck like this that's over 10 years old. These things are so cheap, you might as well just replace the whole thing and then be set for another 10 years or so. That's just my opinion. A lot of lamp assemblies will actually come with new bulbs, and as you can see, the headlamps came with new bulbs. Now the turn signal, on the other hand, doesn't have any bulbs. And another thing you might notice is the front bumper's not off this truck, unlike my Fusion, which the front bumper had to be removed on. And I want to take a quick second to talk about a few of those comments. Was it really that bad? No, it wasn't. That front bumper actually came off in about 10-15 minutes. It really wasn't that bad, except I'm not going to put up a 15-minute video of me just removing the bumper on my Fusion. While I know it sounds crazy, that is actually a very common procedure now on modern vehicles. It's not uncommon to have to remove the front bumper cover to replace headlamp bulbs on modern cars. And that is what I absolutely love about this old Ford Ranger. Piece of cake to work on. These are great little trucks. Another question I'm sure people have is, why is the truck partially taken apart already when the video is just getting started? Well, this is a learning procedure for me, just as much as I try to turn it into an educational video for other people on YouTube to help them out when they go to change the headlamps on their Ranger. So I teach myself with the first set. In this case, these headlamps here, I did the passenger side first. I learned how it comes apart. That way I don't have to go back and correct my mistakes and redo things and take multiple video clips when I do the other side. So if you're wondering why the truck's taken apart, that's why. Now with all that being said, here are the tools you're going to need to do these headlamps. A long pair of pliers, and I'll show you why, needle nose in particular. You will need a set of C-clip pliers, and I know that sounds crazy. I'll show you why in the video here. You'll need a little flathead pocket screwdriver, an itty bitty tiny little mini 4mm socket and a ratchet, and a Phillips screwdriver. Although I'm using a little electric driver in this case, same thing, a regular Phillips screwdriver will work just fine. And can you believe it? That's all you need to do this job. Now what in the world could we possibly need a set of C-clip pliers for on this job? If you look behind the headlamp assembly, you'll see the little clip there. I've got one of them out here to give you a better idea of what this looks like. So as you're looking at the headlamp assembly, this little clip slides in behind the body panel and holds the headlamp assembly in place. And what the C-clip pliers is used for is to separate this little clip. So you install the tool just like so on the clip, you squeeze it, notice how it pries them apart like that. Those little retainers here, the little bitty ones here that you see moving when I squeeze the pliers, that's what holds this clip on the headlamp. So you squeeze the pliers, pulls the little retainers back, and then the clip slides out and you can get the headlamp out. Then you grab the long needle nose pliers, and I'll show you why you need a long set. It's because you have to reach down behind the headlamp assembly, wiggle the clip, and then out it comes. So it's just something you're going to have to play around with. You'll have to work with squeezing the clip just the right amount with your C-clip pliers and pulling up gently with the long needle nose pliers. But you can do it. It's pretty easy once you've done one of them. Last but not least, if you look at the new headlamp assembly here, these two little retainers have to be squeezed with your pair of pliers in order to release the headlamp assembly after you take the two clips out. With your long set of needle nose pliers, release the two little tabs that hold it in place while pulling out on the headlamp assembly. And with a little bit of tugging, eventually it'll slide right out. And there you have it. Then disconnect the electrical connector. Now to take the turn signal lamp assembly out, and this is where Ford really got it right. Guess what? All you need to do is take two little screws out. There are two Phillips screws underneath the turn signal lens here. You can see them. Now because the new turn signal lens doesn't have any bulbs in them, we're going to leave the bulbs in the electrical sockets here. And there you have it. That simple. Now let's talk about headlight aiming. Once again, they made it really easy for you to get at least a good guess on how these headlamps are going to be aligned. You'll notice that on both of these headlamp assemblies, they have new adjusting nuts. As you turn this little retainer, which is on a threaded stud here, it will actually align your headlights by moving them up, down, left, and right. Now because we're replacing the whole assembly, the easy part about this is you can count the threads on the old one and then set the new one to match. Now, while it's not going to be perfect, it'll at least get you very, very close, and you can make fine adjustments later. That way you're not having to stand there and turn this little adjusting stud 10 full turns. You can get the majority of it done here while it's outside the truck and easy to get to. Now, unlike the headlamps, there are no alignments needed for the turn signal lamp assemblies, so that's an easy job right there. So let's count the threads between the retainer and the headlamp assembly here using a flathead screwdriver. 1, 2, 9, 10, 11. So we're right at 11 there. Now I know some people are going to ask, well, why didn't you count the threads out here? The reason being is if you compare these two studs to each other, notice how the new one is a lot longer. If you go by the studs on the outside here, it's going to be off. So count the threads on the inside between the retainer and the headlamp assembly, and it'll be much more accurate. Then using that tiny 4mm socket that we talked about in the tools needed portion of this video, adjust the headlamp retainer stud to match the number of threads on the old headlamp assembly. And that's 11 threads. This one is good to go. Then you'll just repeat the same procedure for all the other retainers and studs. This is going to be the most time-consuming part of the job. Then after you've got all your thread counting down, go ahead and install the new headlamp bulb. Then before installing the headlamp assembly to the vehicle, go ahead and install the bulbs to the new turn signal lens. Then reinstall your new headlamp assembly. Don't forget to plug it in first. Then reinstall the retainer. Then do the same thing with the second retainer. And here is the finished project. It looks so much better. Now this is not the professional way to perform a headlamp alignment, but it does work. Park the vehicle on a driveway or other level surface, and then aim the headlights at something like a garage door. See how I've got a straight line going across on the door? You can see that the headlights aren't aligned properly. So let's adjust them and line them up. However, unless we take the headlamp assembly out again, we're not going to be able to get our socket on there. So you just use your pliers. And as you can see, the headlight's starting to come up, so we're getting it aligned slowly but surely. And as you can see, we're much more level now. Now obviously this isn't going to be perfect as I don't have a professional headlamp aligning board. So because the owner of this vehicle isn't coming to pick it up until this evening, I'm going to go take it for a test drive at night, and then I'll take my little pair of pliers here with me. And what I can do is I can go out on a dark country road, aim the headlights there, make sure that's not going off to the left or shining off to the right or up in oncoming traffic's eyes. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs... Oh, I almost did it. I was going to say give it a thumbs up and have the wrench fold up in a thumbs up position, but failed. Anyway, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.